A lot of you have heard about this connection before, but it bears going over again. Sorry, man, I just woke up, I was tired. I didn't really get a good night's sleep. It was a toss and turner kind of thing. Got some connections last night, and one of the people that I mainly got connected to is a person that works real strong and simple as set in Illuminati. It was about sexuality. Sexuality. A lot of things that involve sexuality and sexual interfacing and sexual manipulation and mind control thing, and how extensive it is. And I don't know if he's trying to help or he's arrogant. I can't tell. It's really weird. But the one lesson I got was it bears repeating again. It's about a lady named Dorothy Dandridge and a man named actually there's two men mainly involved in it. There's an Earl Mills and an Otto Preminger. And Earl Mills, Dorothy had a little guardian angel that she spoke to. You know, from time she was a young actress and stuff and everything, and it's weird, she'd had connections with it and she'd talk, but there was this guardian angel in her life that had been in her life. His name was Earl. And there was a little boy who I told you about, stayed up all night watching that movie and just fell in love with this lady named Dorothy Dandridge. And then I heard the stories about her as he got a little bit older and was like, if I had been alive, she wouldn't have gotten depressed and died or killed. I heard she killed herself. She wouldn't have killed herself. I had been around. I had been, this was the way little Earl would think. I had made sure she was okay because she was so pretty and she seemed so nice that I had taken care of her and protected her. This is how little Earl thought. Dorothy Dandridge wouldn't have died. Little Earl would have protected her. And this is the way he grew up thinking. It's like that song "Candle in the Wind" by Elton John. My candle in the wind wasn't Marilyn, it was Dorothy Dandridge. I fell in love with Dorothy Dandridge when I was a little boy. And she told Earl Mills that she had a guardian angel that she spoke with, and his name was Earl. That's kind of interesting. But Earl Mills took her in to get this job, and she needed it because of the situations. If you watch the movie, Halle Berry, she had a daughter with health issues, lost her marriage because of it, and she was a very special woman. She wanted to be successful so she could have more time to spend with her family. Yeah, she wanted to set her up. She was a lot. Maybe it was my strong connection to Dorothy Dandridge, but I was the same way. I wanted to get a job. Why I wanted to be a teacher was because I would keep the same hours as my children, have the summers off with my children, and have vacations off with my children. Was the whole reason why I wanted to teach and coach. And then I thought about coaching, and I wanted to be a successful coach because it's a way to make money and be successful. But then I thought about it, and I would plan my coaching schedule around my family and create more time for my family and tell the players this is what's important and show the kids how to operate on an independent schedule and then build close family networks. And because I read a book by a man named John Wooden, this crazy guy who believed that God and family were at the top of the pyramid. Crazy John Wooden. God and family, faith and family, top of the pyramid. What about basketball? It was down at the bottom. When I was a kid, because I love basketball so much, I just want the pyramid down near the bottom of the. I was the basketball down near the bottom of the pyramid. How can you be such a successful basketball coach with God and faith at the top and basketball? Never mind. I kept reading. It made sense. God and faith, family and faith and the family, and then it goes down from there. Beautiful man. All right. Otto Preminger wasn't like that. Otto Preminger sized people up. He also has people that he's very wealthy. He has people that can study these people and find out information about them. And then he acts like, oh no, I don't want her. And then he knows all these women are going to come in, especially the most desperate ones like Dorothy, are going to come in and seduce him. And once they seduce him, he just has to see how far it can go. And obviously, you see what happened with Dorothy. And then, of course, he never was intent on marrying her or having an actual couple with her. He did this with lots of women. That's the way they work. Okay, he didn't just do this with Dorothy. He remember he kept it quiet because she was black. He liked the black women. He liked having sex with. That's why he set up this thing for Carmen Jones, and he set up other things for a lot of these guys that liked to have back then that liked to have sex with ethnic type women. Set up roles for them, and the great Otto Preminger, so he could sleep with the ladies auditioning because they were desperate to make it. Yeah, they're sick people. And that's the whole thing about the Michael Aquino stuff, that I was sitting there and he's like, you know, this happened, that. And then we started going through, because I explained it to Natalie, you know, and I've explained this to you guys many times. How many wives did David have? How many wives did Saladin have? How many times have, and how many, in a molecular society, how many different spouses, because of the devils and the devil and the Satan worshippers and the ones who go through forcing concubinage. Look at that part at the end of Samuel 1. I mean, David has to go through, and they kill like 400 men to get back these women. David gets back his wife. You can understand, this isn't just for two women. There's a bunch of other guys. These other guys aren't going to ride with you just to go get back David's wife. It's kind of an exaggeration off the Troy thing. Come on, guys, we're all going to go get my girl back. There's not going to be 600 guys riding off with you just to get two girls back and leave all the other women exposed. They've taken more than just two. This is just from David's perspective right there. David got his wife back, and so did a bunch of those other guys. And a bunch of those guys died in the process. And so a bunch of women are left without husbands again. And then those other tribes now, a bunch of women are left without husbands again. But that makes the Sauls and Joabs types happy, because now this tribe, which we've routed, is now, and we'll have a woman in a lot of need of good men. And so, well, since we're the, you know, and then we can go over there, and then they offer concubinage to us. And they've turned it into an economy on how to, the most capable, the Nathan Bedford Forrest is, and then the Davids who try to, and Abners who try to fight against it. Nathan Bedford Forrest wants slavery so he can go down Slave Row and have sex with a bunch of women. Yes, that's what he wants, and that's what he's trying to pass along. What he doesn't realize is that docile Porgy and Bess can both kick his ass, even though Nathan Bedford Forrest is a very capable man. It's just the simple nature and the breeding of these people that made them a more beautiful type person that would want to live, because Bedford Forrest and his type are so maniacal, they're willing to go to any extreme to manipulate their situation to get what they want. Any extreme. Any extreme. Torture, mutilation, killing, selling families to... Porgy by nature is just not that way. He's just a good guy. And you'll find a lot of these professional football players like James Harrison and stuff like that. James will go play football and he'll light you up and he'll go out there and do it. But by nature, he's a sweetheart. Yeah, Mario Puentes was the same way when I was a kid. You go out there on the football field, light everybody up, and you met him, and he's sitting there in a pair of Tom Sawyer overalls playing with a yo-yo, and he's one of the sweetest guys you've ever met. But out on the football field, he'd light you up. There's guys like that. Michael Aquino's and the Nathan Bedford Forrests don't get it. It's all to preserve their way of life, their rights. Their rights to enforce their sexuality, their diabolicalness on other people. This is the type of people that we're dealing with. This is not a very nice group, and he uses this thing. He understands, as you develop an influence and you develop a connection sexually, you develop an influence. Be however how great it is, be good or bad. And they know how to manipulate this, and they've watched it, they've studied it carefully. Hitler was taught it by Hirschman, but he was taught how to influence young people. I don't have to go to sleep with all these women that have known me in a spiritual sense, that I want to know and they would like to know and we'd like to get back together. There's a physical fasting, spiritual fasting, sexual fasting. If you study a lot of those yogis and stuff that Eckhart likes to quote so much, and if he really had studied Pascal says we only quote those people to sit there and say, oh, I've read them, which is a big sign of ego. Or, oh, I am aware of him, which is a huge sign of ego. If he'd really studied Pascal better, he didn't want to study Pascal better. He was studying all these different people to try to figure out what Pascal and Krishnamurti were talking about, and then go sell it to you and quote all these big names to do it. If he had studied Pascal, if any of you had gone and read Pascal's Penise and go study it, and where Pascal says this, you all don't want it because you all go around doing what Pascal says. Oh, the Rami Kukramakra. Oh, Blaise Pascal. Jesus said. Marcus Aurelius said. The Quondam Pondam said. Fannie Mae Hamer. You can quote all the right people. It's a huge sign of ego. Yeah, plays Pascal 101. He's my uncle. I told him, we'll go to the next one. I love you, all right? Blessings.